Not unless you want to be in trouble, Gray. Do you want to come with us up to Virginia today? I don't think so. Hi, sweetheart. I love you. All ready, aren't you?
Yep.
Got what you need to be comfy back there? I opened the door the rest of the way for you. We do not have it set to open fully at home because if we open them in the garage, we don't want them to come all the way up. But when we load up out here, we can open them the rest of the way. Hey, Donnie.
Good morning, pretty girl.
We've got one more road trip for the summer today.
Yep.
We are headed up to the Amazon Fulfillment Center in Chester, Virginia. It's just south of Richmond. It's about a 2-hour and 40-minute drive, 175 miles. We've been on the road just a few minutes now. Our tour time is at 1 p.m. We've left ourselves about a 45-minute cushion. We need to supercharge one time today, obviously, because, you know, 175 times 2 is 350 plus miles. But we're probably going to pop into both the South Hill and Chester, Virginia superchargers, just so we can say we were there, and also so that we're doing that, you know, charge at peak charging speed thing. So, yeah, let's have some fun today. It's cloudy out here, and we're in the mid-70s with, I guess, we've had a brief rain shower this morning and the possibility for some more. So it's not going to be one of those super hot August days today, I don't think. Yeah, Don has the supercharger plugged in, but the fulfillment center is 7 miles from the supercharger, so essentially the same location. We had the option this morning of going up through Rocky Mount or going up 540, the toll road here, and getting on 85 to go up. And we've done this route a lot of times. You know, we've been to Rocky Mount so many times. Rocky Mount is like our, you know, best friend. So we kind of wanted to go the alternate route, but we're probably going to come home Rocky Mount. You know how we are. We like to make a circle. Why come and go the same way? Boring. We've made it as far as the I-540 toll road, and it's raining here. Not real bad, but a little bit. Ruby says navigate on autopilot. You know, bad weather detected. And she's not going to do navigate on autopilot right now. So at the Amazon tour today, we're supposed to check in with the security guard. He'll direct us where to park, and there'll be obviously a tour guide waiting for us inside the entrance. We have to wear closed-toed shoes in the front and the back, so basically sneakers. Johnny and I are being stubborn, and we're waiting to put our sneakers on up there. We've got our Crocs on right now. And no long jewelry, no purses. Well, guys can carry a wallet. You can carry your cell phone, but you're not allowed to take video or pictures inside. And long hair has to be pinned up, has to be above the shoulder. So no problem, because I was, you know, in the summertime, I've been pinning my hair up quite a good bit. So, yeah. We've just made it as far as getting on I-85. We haven't had any morning rush hour traffic problems. It's going on 10 o'clock now, so I guess I wouldn't have expected that we would have. But you never know around Research Triangle Park, RTP. Anyway, I just had a text message from Tesla service. You might remember that we have a service appointment Thursday at Raleigh at our normal service center, and they wanted to know where the video clip was that demonstrated the squeak, the problem we're coming in for. And can't exactly send them the actual video, plus it's multiple videos while we're on the road this morning. But I did send them a link to the video. It's in the Johnny's birthday at the end. And told them to start watching at 11 minutes, 30 seconds in. And that would be around where the clips start. So I just wanted to say that, you know, here we are, what, 3 days ahead of my appointment. And they've reached out to me to try to be prepared for when I come. I see, you know, sometimes on the Facebook groups of people, you know, having issues. We never have issues with Raleigh service. I mean, I suppose there's a chance, you know, they always are communicative with us, show up when they're supposed to, or ready for us when we show up. I've never had any problems. I could send anyone to Raleigh service without any worries whatsoever. I suppose when they get it up there Thursday, I'm prepared there's a small chance they won't have the part they need to actually do the fix. I hope that's not the case, but you know, these things happen sometimes. We don't know exactly what they need to fix, so they may or may not have the part. But anyway, I just wanted to know that, you know, in advance of my appointment, they are already reaching out, trying to be proactive and prepared for when we come in Thursday. So I'm happy about that. So we're listening to Ryan McCaffrey ride the lightning, and he started talking about Cuphead. And let's just say that that really got Johnny interested. He perked up listening to that podcast right away. Cuphead, Minecraft, apparently Roblox. What's next? Terraria. Hopefully, maybe BMG Drive will make it. Yeah, BMG Drive. Johnny would be a real fan of that. But anyway, he perked up right away. Say, what did he say? Minecraft? Although, just to be clear, Cuphead may never make it to X's and S's because of the way the screen is. It's like a tablet. Cuphead's meant to be played like this, not like this. Huh. Otherwise, you'd have to have like it in the middle, like watching a YouTube video on a tablet, like this. Or only use part of the screen or something. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know how Elon's gonna handle that. You're ready to check it out, though. Yeah. Model Y, here we come. Just wanted to say that on Don's phone today in Google Maps, I can see both the speed limit and the speed Don's traveling. So I presume if the speed limit was wrong, I would be able to click and do something on it today. Yeah, it'd be nice if they would bring that feature out to other locations besides the interstate or, you know, in our part of North Carolina. I mean, we think it's probably because we're on the interstate today, but it could also be because, you know, we're just in a different location. Hard to say. But I do see both speed limits today. Just wanted you to know. Actually, when I press on the speed limit, it either tucks in the actual speed or not. It doesn't actually give me a way to report the speed. Not even if I press on this plus sign up here. That's just the same things we saw yesterday. There's a crash ahead. There's a slowdown. Something else, but not a report, an inaccuracy. So I'm still trying to figure it out. Inquiring minds want to know. We just went past the exit for the Henderson supercharger. Obviously we didn't need to stop. So I don't know if you got to see the speed limit sign there, but it said 70 and Ruby says 65. So we would love to report that Ruby's speed is, you know, is wrong, but we don't have a way to do that. Not that we can figure out. We probably should have looked up the South Hill and Chester, Virginia superchargers on Zach and Jesse's Now You Know supercharger thing, so we could have seen the review. But since we didn't do that, I just looked up in Google Maps those two locations, and when you search on it and it finds it, there is a located in : wording underneath the directions, the street address, and the South Hill one is a restaurant, and that's really all that's there, and the Chester one is at a Wawa. So you can kind of see if you're, you know, a lot of times the main other thing the Tesla person wants to know besides where is the supercharger and are there stalls available is, can I use the restroom there? I mean, what's the thing everybody needs? You could live without a drink and keep going, or food, but you really kind of probably want to know about the bathrooms. So I was just checking that out for us. Don't know what's going on here at the Virginia border, but we're kind of in stop and go traffic. A little bit of red on the traffic part of the map. And here's the traditional Virginia welcome sign we've all known to come and love. We missed that the last time we were in Virginia. I'm trying to get me, Dawn, and the love sign in here.
I thought she was taking a picture.
Well, I was, but then I decided a video would be cute.
Right.
Yeah, if I didn't say we stopped at the Virginia rest area to use the bathroom, we're stuck in this accident traffic jam here, which was basically right at the Virginia border. And I can actually see the accident scene there as we are getting back on the interstate. So it's not too far in front of us. Google doesn't think it's too far in front of us either. Don had kind of pulled that up on the map. So far, it's not messing us up on getting to Amazon on time, but it might take away time from stopping at the supercharger in South Hill and Chester that we kind of wanted to do on the way. We'll just have to see what time it is. The projections are after we get through the wreck. I feel so special now. It's like we're on a super real road trip. We're on the interstate and we're stuck in a slowdown.
Yeah.
How much time do we lose?
It said 11:05.
And now it says 11:28 on our arrival time.
So 18 minutes.
Yeah. It was a tractor trailer
23 minutes.
with a horse trailer behind it. Hopefully the horses are okay. And a big Suburban, I think. They collided somehow. It's raining again. Just one of those days. We are close to the South Hill, Virginia supercharger, and Don reminded me that one of the things of interest to us is how long does it take you off the interstate to get to the supercharger and vice versa. So I am officially starting my my stopwatch. How many seconds, minutes it takes to get there. I think this one is pretty easy on, easy off. The one in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the one in Burlington, North Carolina, they take probably 5 minutes to get to, if you count traffic lights and stuff. So yeah, I had noticed this particular supercharger, there's not a lot else near it. You can kind of see here on the points of interest. Well, there is a McDonald's, and that doesn't show up on points of interest, so I'm a little surprised. That might be what it was calling the travel center. Yeah, Love's Travel Center, but it has a McDonald's, which you couldn't tell from the points of interest. We're at 1 minute and 4 seconds now. So apparently,
What, this hotel?
there it is. We just went past it. Navigation allowed us to go past it. Well, that's what happens the very first time you visit a supercharger.
Yeah.
So now we get to turn around. But this is real life, folks. This is what happens when you go to stop someplace that's a brand new place. So it would have taken about 1 minute and 30 seconds if it had been more clear where to turn. I will say that I think you can go, well, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. You want to try? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, I think if you go out down here on the end, you'll come out just before the turn we were supposed to take if you make a right turn. That's what I was trying to say, yes. So she did pick up the reroute now.
Yeah, but at least it's right turns.
All right
now.
turns, yeah. The next right.
Well, that's Google wants us
okay.
to. Now, where was this place?
Right here,
K
the restaurant,
Hills.
K Hills Restaurant. So we are at 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Don's plugging in. There is a red Model 3 here, but they just unplugged. They're fixing to pull out. some reason the charge screen's blank, so let me press the charge screen. There we go. We're not at a particularly low state of charge at 130 miles, so she's climbing good.
Is it not working?
It is, it's working fine. That's probably about what I would expect, given that we have 130 miles still. The back side of the restaurant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stalls. I would consider this one easy on, easy off the interstate. Just don't miss the turn into Cahill's restaurant here in South Hill, Virginia. We put in 25 miles, and you know, we came here just to check out the supercharger, and now we're gonna head on. We're gonna get to Amazon at 12:43. Our tour's at 1. That should be plenty of time. We did lose, you know, obviously some of our cushion. Thank goodness we had it, waiting for that accident traffic, and just tracking the time back to the interstate. You know, it's like I said, this one is pretty easy on, easy off here. It's going to be probably under a minute.
Yeah, the only comment I would have is, since it's in that Cahill restaurant, you need to be looking for the Cahill restaurant sign, which is very obvious if you remember it's in the Cahill restaurant. If you don't remember it's in the Cahill restaurant,
you'll probably end up at the hospital, circling the hospital. Yep. So it's 40 seconds, 45 seconds back over to the ramp here. Totally what I would call a reasonable on-off supercharger stop.
Yeah, but late at night, there's no real place for...
well, maybe the Love's Travel Center across the street, but
yeah.
you probably wouldn't want to walk it at night. You'd want to stop, use the restroom, grab a drink, and then plug in across the street at the supercharger.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. That
travel center probably is open 24/7.
Yeah. And if nothing else, you could just pull in there on your way out.
We're on the final stretch of our approach here. You can see where the Chester supercharger is, that we're now going to check out after our tour because of that traffic accident delay that we had. But thankfully it's smoother sailing now, although this is pretty much what it was like before we ran into the accident scene. So but it's clearing up a little bit out there, and so far so good on getting there. 12:40 is our ETA now, and that's perfect. What was that, Donnie?
I have to drive. Autopilot's not driving.
Yeah, we got off of I-95. We're on Ruffin Mill Road, and Ruby returned control to Donnie. Oh wow, we're in the... well, it says to go up one more. Visitors and associates stay straight, it says. This is a large building, which is what you would have expected. The next left, this one here. Well, I'm pleased to see the parking lot looks like we'll be able to find a spot for Ruby that I'm comfortable with. So Main is just to our right.
All visitors must check in at Main entrance.
And Main is right there. So if you'll go to the right here and find a safe spot, we'll be good.
Okay.
They didn't say we couldn't film in the parking lot. They just said we can't film inside, so.
We'll park over here.
Yep, sounds good to me. We'll have to look for some car chargers here while we're here.
Right, we should go look for a car.
We will, we'll see. We don't need to plug in, but you know. Johnny points out that all the lights in the parking lot are LED. Don says he doesn't think this building's too old. I'm sure it's not, and it is big. It is very big. there's two Teslas here in the parking lot, a 3 and an S. Our all is a red contingent today, and the guy driving the 3 has watched our videos before and knew who we were. Just, you know, fancy that. So this 3 has a carbon fiber wrap, all the accent points you would expect. I've not seen a 3 that had the wrap, and it's just really cool. It actually has a textile wrap, you know, feel to it. It's not smooth. So we're back in Ruby after the tour.
Yep.
It lasted a little over an hour, about an hour and 25 minutes by the time we asked a bunch of questions and walked out to the car.
Yep.
It was really nice meeting one of our viewers and seeing a red, you know, basically having sex in the Amazon parking lot. What can I say?
Yeah,
there was a
S,
3, an S, and an X, and they were all red, except for Ruby was parked way farther away than the other Teslas.
Right.
So it was a really good tour. We got to see where they put together the boxes, put like single items in the boxes, tape them up, apply a barcode, and send them down the line.
Yeah.
And what else?
Oh, she talked quite a bit that, you know, there's like 120 fulfillment centers in the U.S. and about that many outside the U.S.
That's not quite what she said. No,
what did she say?
No, there were 100 and I don't remember. So
there were a lot.
There were a lot of fulfillment centers. Let's just leave it at that.
And only 20 something, low 20s give tours. Just because you have a fulfillment center in your city does not mean it gives a tour. You have to, each fulfillment center, they're placed scattered around the country that do the tours.
So let's back up a little bit. So we went in and we were going to check in with the security person, but Linda, the tour guide, she came out to meet us, took us to a room where there wasn't so much noise, because the first thing you noticed when you walked in there was, oh my God, it's noisy, I need earplugs. Took us to a room where we could use the bathroom, where it was quiet, assembled us, handed out headsets. That we could put on to hear her throughout the tour and to protect us from the noise outside of the little room where we met, offered us water, answered a few questions, waited for people to assemble. And we got started right on time. It was a group of about 20 or less. They don't have really super huge tours. It's a handful. They have a person in the front talking, which was Linda, and then they had another person at the end making sure, I think, they don't lose anybody on the tour.
Right.
And you know, they talked a lot about everything. They talked about minimum starting wage in the warehouse is $15 an hour. She said all of their Amazon facilities have heating and air conditioning, and then fans to move and circulate the air inside. So it was a very comfortable
it was very
temperature inside the warehouse. She talked about 401k, you know, they do offer after a year, or I think maybe before a year, and then after a year they increase it. They have a 401k program, which IBM had, and that's a really great thing that you should definitely start as soon as you can.
They match 50%.
50%, I thought that sounded okay. She said they have a set guidelines they ask employees to work at for each station, but they really don't want you to work faster, because that could be a danger thing. So they kind of have a ballpark average for where they like for people to stay in a sweet spot. But you don't get extra for, like, you know, packing another.
They're not paid by the piece.
They're not paid by the piece, that's right.
But they certainly know exactly how many items or how many transactions or whatever you want to call the units of work. They know how many
a typical person would be able to do, and
you've done, and you know, if you're below that, I'm sure they, you know, help you figure out why you're so slow. But I didn't see anybody in there that I thought would even come close to busting ass. They were just working steady. Steady
working. So they named their warehouses based on the local airport. So this is RIC2
because there's another
for
one.
Richmond International Airport, RIC, and there's also an RIC1. RIC2, this facility does anything that's about the size of a small microwave or smaller. RIC2 does things that sometimes RIC1 does the one we did not see today.
Big screen
moves
TVs, refrigerators.
Things they might need a forklift to move. Hot tubs, kayaks. She mentioned some really big items. I was surprised Amazon even sold those.
Right.
So yeah, refrigerators. She did mention that. I'm sure if you need a dorm room refrigerator this time of year, they'd be, you know. And she said they win their orders.
Right.
So Amazon has some magical process that decides where your item should be fulfilled from, and it takes a lot of things into account. And she says she lives 7-10 miles away, and sometimes her items come from New Jersey.
Right.
And she just walked past it in the warehouse today.
Yeah.
But you know, Amazon knows what's doing what it's supposed to be doing. So the process in the warehouse is a little bit different if it's one item going in a box. If you order one item, that's pretty straightforward. A picker goes out and grabs it from the warehouse, puts it in a yellow bin, gets it to a conveyor belt, goes to a boxer, and out it goes. It's a little bit more of a process if you have multiple items going in your box, but not too much more complicated. And then they, you know, have an intermediate process for kind of getting all your, initially it isn't picked all of your stuff by one person.
Right.
It can be picked by multiple people, and then later on it gets put into a bin that's your stuff.
Each picker has 2 totes on their cart, a top shelf and a bottom shelf. One of the shelves, or one of the totes, which is basically just a plastic basket, has a barcode on it, is for single item orders. Those they can put as many things that will fit. She says sometimes that top tote will have 60 items, but they're all single item orders. That tote simply goes onto the conveyor belt system, goes straight to a boxer or packer who takes one item at a time. It scans it and it says, put that in this size box. They put it in that size box. They grab the next item and says, put this in this size box. They do that. So they'll remove all 50, 60, ever how many items are in that tote, that packer, because it's all single item orders.
And that's what we saw. We were in the single item packing area.
A lot of their orders are single item.
Yeah.
And then they have the other tote on the cart that the picker has is a multi-item tote. So everything that goes in there could be for different customers, but it's a multi-item. So that tote goes to they put on a different belt, and it goes to a sorter or a buffer merger. It's basically all the multi-items come in, and the person pulls them out of there, puts them in, and eventually all the items in your order will go into
end up together.
End up in a tote, and then that will go to the packer. So there's a separate sort merge in the middle of multi-item, because I may be pulling one of your items and putting it in my multi-item. Another picker on the other side of the building grabs a item that's part of my order and puts in his multi-item tote. And just ever how many it takes, and all those multi-item totes go to one place, and they sort through them, and they figure out which one goes where, and eventually all your items go into its own individual tote, and then it's going to go to the packer, and the packer will put how many items into the box.
And as you'd heard, they get recommendations for the size of the box, you know, what it's safe to put things in and that kind of stuff. I was a little surprised. They're not real careful with the tape. She says they actually have someone down the line later on with a spray bottle. They'll just give a little squirt. It's water activated. They'll press it down and it'll keep on going.
But it's important that it tells it what size box to put the item or items in, because the machine cuts the tape for the ideal length for the box.
They are not guesstimating tape. The machine hands them the tape. They do, before your item leaves the warehouse, check the weight, because they know the weight of every item in that warehouse. And if your box is not within, you know, a certain some spec ballpark, it gets kicked out, and the person on that line that's monitoring for blockages or something detected with a missing label, or one that gets kicked out. We saw the person monitoring that juncture pull one, you know, one box got kicked out, and she went to open it up and take a look at what was going on and double check. So this facility is 28 football fields big. And she said there were 2,000 employees that work at this facility. They work 4 10-hour days, and there are 2 shifts a day. So there are about 3 hours during the day where they're not actually shipping, you know, maintenance on machines or whatever, or just changeover of people coming and going. So they don't consider it a 24-hour-a-day process, but it is more than 20. So that was pretty interesting that they're all 4 days on, 3 days off over here.
And also the packer, the box gets a barcode, just a barcode. That's all it gets. No address information, no name, no nothing. So this person who is packing your box doesn't know that your, you know, toilet paper and all these other things are going in. They have no idea where this box is. They have no idea where it's going. All they do is take and put a barcode on that box. They put a barcode, the machine, they just put a barcode on the box. They put the tape and the barcode on the box. They put it on a conveyor belt, and it goes through their system, and it gets down to the slam. Scale, tape, address.
Yeah, she did call it the slammer. She did call it the slammer.
And it has the packages, the conveyor belt has like several little lead up conveyor belts that stop and start so that the boxes are separated. And then the boxes move off of that stop-start belt onto a white belt, and they stop there for just a blink of an eye, and it weighs the item. And that's what Marianne was talking about.
Right, that's where the boxes can pile up, or they have a person manual come over and, right, that was where I was
And then
talking.
it starts moving again in just a few feet, and it goes through some red eyes that are laser beams that are scanning the package to find the barcode. Or maybe it was before. Anyway, they got the barcode, so they know, and they know how much this package weighs. They just weighed it. Then they scanned the barcode, so now they know, oh, it's supposed to weigh this much money, this much weight. And if it doesn't work, it kicks out. But as soon as it goes through the red scanners, it goes to this thing that prints the label, and it smashes the label onto the box.
The point of no return.
Point of no return, as they said, and it's pneumatic.
Right, after that point, you can't cancel your order.
And sometimes, most of the time, the boxes are pretty straight, but sometimes we saw an example where the box was cockeyed, and the slammer thing puts it doesn't try to rotate the sticker. It's perfectly square, and so it literally went across the corner of a box, and the label hung off the top of the box and one of the sides of the box. And the lady said, it just so happened there was a jam up there, and as the person removed the items from the jam and got them all sorted, she ripped that label off and stuck it back on the box correctly. But the label did not cause the jam. But that's what Marianne was saying. Since this was corrected because of a jam, it was fixed right there at that point. But if it hadn't have been fixed at that point, it goes to another place where it's loaded onto the truck, and that person is responsible for fixing
there's a little tiny, the size of my finger, little UPC symbols on the box that the packer puts on it. So if the big label gets destroyed or something happened with all of the extra information, they can get back to, somebody else down the line can print another label and put it on the box using that smaller barcode, which is a lot less likely to be not where it's supposed to be.
And it goes around, the packages goes around, and they have all these 18-wheelers that are docked to the
back side of this building. Yeah.
Because this one, she didn't imply that they actually ship it to your house from this.
They don't ship anything to your house from it goes to another sorting facility.
That's right. So
by zip code or whatever.
It might be a great big UPS truck backed up, and it's going to fill this UPS truck up with Amazon packages, and then UPS is going to go to the UPS hub, and UPS is going to sort it out and put them on all their little bitty trucks and go all over.
There's nothing leaving here that's coming straight to you.
Right, and that's right. And they said there's actually Amazon shippers where the truck will go from here to the Amazon, and that would be like the guy who's the Amazon truck delivering in some areas. We don't really have that in our area, but I think in other areas.
Right. Now the thing that I think was most surprising, other than we didn't see a lot of people today, but today's kind of a flat day for them. They don't do tours at Christmas or Prime Day. But you know, everyone is down those little aisles, so I'm sure there's more people in the building than you see in any small space that you are. But the thing that's really going to surprise you is They call the sorting mechanism in that building a random sort. They have Legos on the same shelf as cosmetics and kitchen stuff and pool floats, and basically the stuff comes in. 50% of the stuff in that warehouse they've bought and they own, and they're fulfilling it for themselves. And the other 50% are small and medium businesses that have said, hey, we want you to fulfill stuff for us. We're going to send it to you. Let's do a contract. We'll sell it. I'm sure they have standard kind of things. At some point you don't want us to sell, we'll send you back your inventory. So it's like a 50-50 mix in there, but it's wherever they have spot in the warehouse for your stuff. And they may have different, you know, your stuff is running low and you send some more stuff to Amazon, or they buy their own stuff. It's not even all together or all of the same items in there. They just find a shelf with some spots and they go and they put it in there. Now, the top part of the shelving is just a shelf where a person sticks the part on there. But the lower part is these cardboard bins for things that are round or have packaging that makes it so they won't stand up good. So there's both cardboard bin and just like put it on a shelf like a book kind of a thing. But it's an organized mess. It's a random, it's like just, that's the part that boggles the mind. It really did. It boggles the mind that they can keep up. And they said if it falls on the floor, they have this arbitrage box, blue bin at the end of the amnesty
box.
Right, you're not supposed to put it back on the shelf. Just like the librarian doesn't want you to lose her book.
Don't stock the book.
Don't guess which shelf it fell off of. Put it in the bin and someone will correctly scan it and get it back. It has a job of going around and putting it back. Because I think Johnny or Don one asked, well, you know, do you have stuff that gets lost never to be seen again here in the warehouse? And she didn't say no, but she did say they had a really good process for putting stuff back on the back on the shelf.
And it is interesting. It's like Marianne said, you may have cat food right next to makeup, right next to automobile part. I mean, in the little little cubby. So there's just, you know, there's like 6 shelves, and each shelf, so the bottom shelves, as Mary said, had these little cardboard bins, but as you go up the shelves, there's just these cubbies, and they vary in a little bit of size, but they're just full of ever how many items it'll fit. So if there's a little space there, and the person, they call them not the stuffer, the
picker.
Well, the picker's the one that pulls it out. There's another person who loads it in there, who comes around.
There's just
they're just walking along looking for an area where
a receiver. Yeah,
they got these items, and they look at them and says, well, it'll fit in that spot. So they scan, and they stick it in that spot. So as Marianne said, it's mind-boggling, but you know, you may have this Friskies chicken cat food. It could be in 15 different places in there. 10 cans are over here, 25 cans are over there, you know, ever how many cans.
It's a mirrored operation in several parts of the warehouse, which is not to say that every item is duplicated in each mirror image, but there are mirrored images in there, so it's certainly okay. And she said there are, like at the busiest time of the year, there's 25 million different products in that warehouse at one time. Not, you know, every day of the year, and it's up and down, but at the busiest it could be as many as 25 million products. So that was was pretty amazing.
It was the random sortness of it. That Marianne's right, that was kind of surprising. The fact that they only the picker who pulls the items off the shelf, because the computer, they have a scanner, a hand scanner, and it just tells them the next bin to go look for and what they're looking for, and it shows them a picture of it. So they actually have a picture of the item they're supposed to pull from the shelf. All of this is to help. The one thing they don't want to have to do is pull an item out and then it goes all the way through this process and then pay somebody else to go back and put it. I mean, that's just total waste. So they really, every time they handle an item, they want to make sure that person's handling the exact item they're supposed to.
Yeah, and our tour guide, Linda, she said this facility's been open 7 years.
7 years.
And prior to this year, there were only 6 Amazon facilities in the United States that gave tours.
Yeah.
The customer said we wanted to come tour Amazon,
Right.
so this year there are 20 facilities that give
over 20,
tours.
yeah.
She's been giving tours for 6 years, 2 or 3 times a day. So she was really someone that absolutely knew what she was talking about, and she had a good answer for everything. And one other thing we didn't mention is they do have the envelopes leaving here too. It's not all cardboard.
Not all cardboard
and we
boxes.
saw the sorter where it sorts them into corrugated cardboard containers based, I guess, maybe on what sorting facility they want it to head to, which region of the country it's going to, the people. But anyway, so we did see envelopes being sorted as well. And she said they did a lot to reduce the cardboard box footprint. I mean, obviously we all still getting a lot of cardboard boxes. So look, the little camera overheated trying to record too much 4K footage too quick. All I was gonna say is they now mail a lot of things in the packages that they come to them from the manufacturer. They don't put everything in their own Amazon box. And that's saving a lot of boxes a year that they used to put everything in their own box.
Yeah, we saw our trash bags go by with the address.
Yeah, the kind we get. And they gave us all swag. They gave us a bottle with a carabiner Amazon little water bottle. So that was really sweet of them. Really sweet of them.
Yeah, I would say please, if you know, take a look, go and try to take a tour. It's
it was worth it. It was.
We drove 175 miles each way, and I would easily do that. And, you know, just take a day, pick a 1 o'clock, so drive up in the morning, do the tour, and drive home in the afternoon.
And Johnny did enjoy it. He sort of stuck back there behind my seat, and he got a little hot while we were talking in the parking lot. But he asked several questions on the tour and was very engaged and had a good time too. He just wants to go to the one in Baltimore where they have the little robots that are about this big that lift pallets. He wants to see, and we do too, want to see the robots in action. We'd have to drive up to Baltimore or Boston. Those 2 facilities have the robots on the tour.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to the supercharger, and Johnny and I missed our frosted drinks at Chick-fil-A this morning, and I really like how it's showing us points of interest close to where we're heading, and we're gonna stop in this Chick-fil-A. But these points of interest have been very helpful lately. These kids in the red Model 3 over here, they're playing beach buggy. I want to play beach buggy.
Well, go ask them if you can play beach buggy.
Can I at least see beach buggy? All right, Ruby's starting to charge. She says 40 minutes, I guess, to get home, but really all we really care about is getting to Rocky Mount.
Yeah, you can plug it in and see
what that would be instead. Okay. So you can actually see the wheel moving a little bit. It moves just a little bit. Boy, if I was playing that in Ruby, she'd be squeaking all over the place. So Ruby says to get to Rocky Mount, we got to stay here about 20 minutes. So we're getting 125 kilowatts right now. Totally reasonable charge. You can see the cabinets over there. Don over here in his green shirt, he's coming back from the restroom. He said this is his first Wawa. He says I should go make friends with these kids since I want to see beach buggy racing. They sure are into it. Well, that's just what Elon wanted to see, right? Kids having fun playing at the supercharger. So Don and I are just a tad bit impatient, I think is the word I want to use. Ruby is saying that we've got 8 miles to get to Rocky Mount, and we've got 153 rated miles over here, but yet she says it's not okay to leave yet. So we're sort of
well, we're
ready to go. We've been sitting 5 minutes longer than we want to be. We're ready to go.
Right. Exactly. I'm going to wait till this says 10%.
10%, and then we're out of here. Yeah. We still have a good charge rate.
Yeah, it's like
I think the charge rate is still fine.
78 kilowatts, yeah.
Yeah, let's taper it off now. It was 90 last time I looked, but yeah.
Yeah, 5 minutes. I'm ready to, yes, I'm
all right, we've got 165 miles to go 108 miles. Ruby says we've got a 12% buffer. I'm sure we have at least a 12% buffer. So the red Model 3 left the supercharger about the same time we did. We figure we'll see him in Rocky Mount too. And this black Model 3 is the other Tesla that was at the supercharger. It really will be interesting if some of us end up all together at Rocky Mount. It's possible the red Model 3 has enough to get to Lumberton. So we don't normally go to the Rocky Mount supercharger coming south on I-95. We usually are going east or west on 64. But we actually had to go the wrong direction on 64 to get to the supercharger. But only by 3 miles or less. So not a lot, but you know, a little bit. What we got here with plenty of range. It's less than 20%, but it's, you know, 40 miles is a big cushion. That's fine.
In that silly thing. I don't know why.
It's switching to me today, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you've got both of them in your pocket? No, they're both in the tissue box now. Yeah. So, did you plug in home? Plug in home and let's see what it says. And can you pull back up the charger screen?
Yeah. So, it says 20 minutes. You're not doing well. It's wrapping up though. 100, 102, 104, 105. But it's done this before.
Yeah. I would, yeah.
It's done this.
If it stalled out at 60 kilowatts or something, that would be different.
Right. Well, no, what I meant is it's gone up to 104 and we've been, wow, why is it 104, 105, then it's gone on up?
Yeah, continued to climb.
Right.
There's a lot of factors. Heat, state of charge.
Well, it's a little, yeah, and I agree, it's a little bit to do with...
So it's 5:18 and we're going to be here at least 20 minutes. So we've been here long enough to go to the bathroom and have a really great conversation with the gentleman in the pre-facelift S over there. Really nice guy. And we've got enough to get to the house now, so let's go.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Social hour is over at the supercharger.
Yeah, we've socialized.
It's a little squeeze play here on the weather. There's rain to the east and rain to the west. It's just starting to sprinkle here. But what's coming from the west broke up some. It was a more intense line. So we're going to be going through a little bit of rain though. And we got supposed to arrive at home at 21%, so we can afford some rain. If it were to hurt the mileage, it wouldn't. It's raining out there, but it's not raining hard. It's not really causing Don any trouble. We're doing okay. We were looking at the consumption. It's at 433 watt hours per mile right now, which of course, you know, the rain can slow you down a little bit. But it looks like most of it was right here when we started. It just went boom and stayed on this line. So I don't know that we should feel too bad about it. We got plenty to get to the house. Just, you know, bide time. Traffic exiting Raleigh is pretty thick. Doesn't look like we have any delays in the direction that we're headed though. So we stopped and got Smithfield's in Fuquay. Chicken and barbecue. Right. We're home. It's still raining a little bit. Rain wasn't too bad on the ride. Cats are accounted for. Everybody's been fed. Now it's time for us to eat.
Amen.